Good morning and welcome again to our daily devotions as we're continuing our look at some of the stories that Jesus told. And today's story is the story of the workers in the vineyard. And at the heart of this one is an issue near and dear to all of our hearts. It's fairness. You've all heard the phrase, life isn't fair. I should probably count the number of times in a day I wind up having to say that line, life isn't fair. It's like we come born into this world with a fully developed sense of fairness, or at least a fairness meter that's working overtime. As kids, we look around at our classmates, we look around at our brothers and sisters if we have them, and we make snap judgments. Am I getting the same thing as they are? Am I being treated the same? And rightly or wrongly, we make judgments and we say, that's not fair. Now, we do this as adults too. We just develop more sophisticated language when we talk about fairness and getting what we think that we deserve. In Matthew chapter 20, Jesus tells this story to this effect, and he begins the story by saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a master of a house who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. And he went out the very first thing in the morning, and then he went back out again, and then again, and again, and again. He went out 5 different times throughout the day, finally at the end, coming out just as the day is closing. He finds workers, and he brings them into his fields, and he tells each group, come and work for me, and I'll give you a denarii. And then he tells subsequent groups, come and work for me, and I'll pay you what's fair. And when the end of the day finally comes, the master goes to his steward and he says to line the men up who've worked. Those who were hired last, pay them first, and those who were hired first, pay them last. And you can imagine exactly how this would unfold if you were one of those who had been hired first thing in the morning and you were getting paid last. As you saw that steward hand that denarii to those who had only worked for maybe an hour at most, you'd be thinking at the end of the line, hey, if this guy is so generous, he's giving these men who only worked for an hour 1 denarii, then how much more am I going to get? Maybe you'd multiply the hours you'd worked by that denarii. You think, I'm going to get 8 denarii. But then as he goes down the line and each subsequent group still receives the exact same thing, that 1 denarii, unease begins to set in. Finally, those who were hired first were paid that denarii, and they began to protest. That's not fair. And the master said, do you begrudge my generosity? Can't I do what I want with what is my own? At the heart of it is that issue of fairness. And I think the point that Jesus was trying to get across when it comes to God's kingdom and the issue of fairness is that it's true. It isn't fair. It's grace. It's God's riches at Christ's expense. When it comes to God's kingdom and our earning our place in God's kingdom and the things of God's kingdom, they aren't given to us on the basis of the amount of time that you put in or the amount of sweat equity that you've accumulated. That's not how things work in God's kingdom. In God's kingdom, it's that great reversal where the last are first and the first are last. It's a kingdom built on the grace of God for us in Christ Jesus. It's built on this notion that we have a God who is merciful and kind and loving and pays us not in the coin that we deserve, which would be punishment and eternal damnation, but he pays us in the coin of his mercy and grace, which is free forgiveness in his Son, Jesus Christ. So remember that today, as you go about your day, as you consider that phrase, life isn't fair, as you consider and grapple yourself, either in the lives of your kids or in your own, with this issue of fairness. And may it be a reminder to you that we can thank God that in this case, he is not fair. Have a great day.